Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Geek Yogurt Podcast. I am Knock.
Rah-rah! Sam!
I'm Wave.
All four of us together, baby! Yeah, we're back.
Okay, so
I don't think we've had a full cast in like 3 weeks.
yeah,
Right, at
3
least
weeks.
that.
4
Yeah.
weeks, maybe even.
Yeah, maybe even about that.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we missed 1 week, and then it was the three of us talking about Deadpool.
Yeah. That's right.
And then it was the
Deadpool
three of
reacts.
us talking about something last week.
Yeah. More Deadpool reaction because you didn't get a chance
more
to talk
Deadpool
about
reaction.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
So, and we all didn't get a chance to discuss Ant-Man. I don't think
We've
seen
discussed
but-
it off mic
Tertiary.
individually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we haven't actually sat down and
Discussed it.
discussed it. Disgusted.
Well, some people might be disgusted with it.
I mean, Fan 4. That's
Well,
disgusting.
that's
Well, that's why they put Fan 4 after Ant-Man's. This
I mean, that's
bad
just them.
taste
They're
in your
just-
mouth here.
they're
Have some more
disgusting.
shit.
yeah.
So.
To tell you the truth, Ant-Man worked as a movie way more than it had any right to.
Yes.
Considering all
Considering all the shit that went wrong, the fact
All
that
the shit that went
fact
wrong.
that it works as well as it does, to me, makes it a good movie. It's not the movie I wanted it to be, but I still think it was a good movie, and I'd consider it a success, a win for Marvel.
Yeah.
For all intents and purpose, I'd consider it a win, and they consider it a win too. It didn't make a lot of money compared to like
They weren't-
Avengers,
but they never
or Captain
expected it
America,
to.
or even Iron Man. But yeah, it was never going to because you have a character Ant. His name is Ant-Man. You know, you're not going to get a lot of general public on board to see that movie.
I don't know. I think if everything had went according to plan and Wright didn't leave and he was able to do everything that he wanted to do, I think it probably would have made much more than it actually did.
I think it would have made more, yeah. But here's the thing: I don't think it would have jived with the rest of. Now that I'm distancing myself from Ant-Man and I can think about it, I don't think Edgar Wright's movie would have jived with the rest of the MCU. It would have felt off, and for that reason, I think it would have been. I think him splitting with Marvel was best for the movie.
Well, in what way? What do you think? Why wouldn't it have worked?
Because the way he makes his movies and his style and his approach doesn't jive with the way Marvel's big machine works. So his movie would have felt like all the Marvel movies to date are different but the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They all have connective tissue that feels within one big universe.
Yeah.
And I think had Edgar Wright stuck on, that would have stuck out like a sore thumb in context to all the other Marvel movies.
See, that's where I disagree with you on that.
His style is not like anything in the Marvel universe, and not in a good way. Like Guardians of the Galaxy's style is not like the rest of the Marvel movies, but it's
Right.
still in tone and in movement. It still feels like an MCU movie.
I disagree. I think that's what made Guardians, at least in my point of view, work as well as it did. Because it
Whoa. Go back and say that again.
I didn't say I liked the film. I said what made it work as well as it did
Okay.
was that it was different in tone, in presentation, as what had come before it. And I think Edgar Wright would have fit right in with that because we were already looking at and expecting something different things.
There's no
So
way
the
Edgar Wright
mix.
would have worked well within the Marvel cogs, because
He probably would not have worked well. I think he would probably would have done that movie and left. But I think that film would have placed.
He wouldn't have been
pretty
able to do the movie at all had he stuck with Marvel. Thus is why he left. He could not work with Marvel. The way Marvel works is it's one of the only studios that is extremely producer driven.
Right.
And yet it doesn't feel like it's producer driven. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it feels like every filmmaker has their own toys in the sandbox, but they really don't. They're really all catered and driven and steered by the producers, the big Marvel hand.
I think
And
that's
Edgar
right.
Wright would have never been able to make a movie that way. It would have felt more compromised than Age of Ultron.
I give you that point because once they started to come in and say like you have to do this, this, and this, I think there would have been a bad thing. But if they had not have done that, if he had been able to make the film that he wanted to make, I think it would have fit well in that world that they're making. Not because You know, and I don't think there would be a problem because it was a bad movie. I don't think it'd be a problem because, like as you
Oh,
said,
no, yeah, I don't
the
think it would be
producers
bad.
have their own vision of what's
Yeah.
happening, and it would not have aligned with that. But I think it wouldn't have been like universe shattering.
Oh no, I don't think it
So-
would have been universe shattering. I just like I said, I think it would stick out like a sore thumb in context to the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And even though Guardians is so vastly different, it doesn't stick out. It still feels well within the walls of MCU. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay.
I think we'll have to agree to disagree.
Personal preference, then.
Of
How would you rate Ant-Man? Would you say you liked it? Would you put it...
I liked it as much as I liked the first Iron Man, to tell you the truth.
How did you like the first Iron Man?
It's amongst... See, it works... Marvel Cinematic Universe works in a weird way because they all kind of have the same formula, even though they do and they don't. You know what I mean? They take a somewhat B-level Iron Man, you know, and throw in either a guy, an up-and-comer, or a person who's trying to win bounty points back. And they kind of have the same villain structure.
And they always get at least one or two big names when they do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Bridges and Iron Man.
Oh, that's true.
You know, hell.
Who was the guy in Winter Soldier? The head
Robert
shooter.
Redford?
Thank you, Redford. Yeah. That guy, that little known actor, Robert Redford.
Ooh.
Elrond from...
I have a message on
First
Tumblr.
Adventure.
Who wants to guess whether or not it's a request for me to go get a virus?
No, it's just me saying hi.
It's a request for porn.
Hello, dear. I am trying to promote my latest blog online game on my Tumblr page. I am only trying to find a few people to try it. Could you try it out for a moment? It will last only a minute. See it on my Tumblr blog. I'll be so thankful. It is the newest MMO game. You might like it. I read that the way it was typed, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So you're gonna accept, right?
no, totally.
But yeah, I like Ant-Man. It's definitely on the top of my favorites in the Marvel universe. You know, that's not to say that it's a mind-blowing movie, but it works enough and sets up enough and is different enough that I can react to it in a positive way.
Okay.
You know, it's not Winter Soldier, but it's not Iron Man 2 either.
Well, in that same vein, I mean...
Let's just... What is your favorite out of the MCU movies so far?
I'd probably say Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I think that hit all the right notes, and I think the people who did that, the Russo brothers, them doing the Infinity War, is the smartest decision Marvel's made since hiring Chris Evans.
Yep.
Hands down, because I think they just get it. They get the action, they get the drama, they get these characters, and they respect these characters.
Ra, your turn.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, you don't consider this movie a success,
I don't. And then...
which I think is crazy.
Because I can watch the... what is it? The Mark 1 Iron Man silver suit gearing up scene from Iron Man over and over and over and over. I can watch the helicarrier scene between Thor and Hulk from Avengers over and over and over and over. I can watch the battle in the streets with the hand-to-hand knife fight with Chris Evans and Winter Soldier.
That is one of the
from Winter
coolest
Soldier.
Mhm.
Over
fist fights
and over
ever.
and over. I can't watch anything from Ant-Man like that
Whoa.
at all.
We've only seen it
The
once.
train scene?
Yeah, but there's nothing that I'm seeking.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
The train
I get what you're
scene?
saying.
I actually go to YouTube and look these things up, like on just.
Okay, once again,
confidence.
the train scene?
Yeah,
that was
not
awesome.
Really, not really. Didn't really do it for me.
I'll agree with you. And this is one of the things where I think Edgar Wright would have shined.
Mm-hmm.
I think the action in Ant-Man it's just there.
Yeah.
Nothing really wowed me in the action, and I think had Edgar Wright stayed on, the action would have had way more momentum. It would have been quirky in a fun way,
Right.
and it would have really popped. Whereas in here, I didn't. Now the action's not bad in Ant-Man at all.
No.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't soar for me.
Right.
Like it's not memorable.
You don't think of Paul Rudd as
Except
action.
for the final battle. I think the final battle is really, really cool. Especially, and then he gets into the quantum realm. I love all that. I think that was really cool.
All right. So, yay or nay for you on Ant-Man?
I think Ant-Man, for me, was what I expected it to be. I expected it to be a less than a real Marvel film, and that's what I got. So I kind of met what I thought it was going to be. But what really gets me, and Sam and I got into it a little bit on messaging and stuff, was like all the people coming out and saying like, "Oh, this is an amazing film because of all the problems that it had," and then it's like, that's not a qualifier for being a good film.
I don't think it's amazing
So-
because of what it went through. I think it's a win because of what it went through.
See,
The fact that it functions as
Yeah.
a beginning, a middle, and
Yeah.
end, has characters you care about,
Right.
has action that's competently shot,
Right.
and that it's an enjoyable popcorn flick that made back its money.
Mm-hmm.
I think all that quantifies a win. It
Right.
quantifies it as a successful movie,
Right.
especially for Marvel.
That's where that's where we disagree. It's like because what I've read and seen as far as articles and stuff online is that that's the general consensus, is that because Marvel Disney overcame all these things and created a movie that people could just go watch, that's a victory. And I just don't.
How
see
is that not a victory? They set out to make a movie. They made a movie that people responded to.
Mhm.
It made money.
Right.
People like it. It doesn't falter in any movie breaking way.
Right.
How is that not a success?
And
Because-
now, if you say the name Ant-Man to people, they know who you're talking about. Granted, and
We're not getting into
we'll
the
get-
Scott Lang, Hank Pym
right.
bullshit.
Granted, they know that they're gonna think Scott Lang,
Is like Soul Ant-Man.
but at the same time, they now know who the fuck Scott Lang is.
Yeah.
But they also knew that Hank Pym was once
Yes,
Ant-Man.
was one. Yeah, that's why I'm not getting into that.
Right.
It's not like they're going into the movie and thinking Scott Lang is the one and only Ant-Man.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I will say every single problem I actually have with that, aside from one problem, every single problem I have with that movie boils down to me being a Hank and Janet fan, and which is both fair and not fair for me to do to them.
Yeah.
And that one problem that I don't have is, I gotta say, the shrink gun that didn't work. That
Oh yeah.
that didn't actually shrink somebody and keep them alive. That turned them into a little
Yeah.
thing of goo that you could wipe up with a tissue. Why the fuck was that not made part of the suit?
Yeah.
Right.
Like.
Oh
the-
my god! Why
the
didn't he
Yellow
make
Jacket suit?
the Yellow Jacket suit? He
That's a perfect villain weapon.
He
Right.
specifically set out to make an assassin weapon.
Yeah.
That, mind you, this would also work off of his altered Pym particles,
Yeah.
requiring even more fuel they would have had to buy from him.
Right.
And you can literally wipe up the mess with a tissue.
Yeah.
When you're not trying to send a message with a body and you just want somebody to disappear.
It's-
Oh my god,
it's
why
a
didn't you do
perfect
this?
villain thing.
That's my only gripe with this movie. Otherwise,
And like I said, just because it's a win,
Yeah.
that doesn't necessitate that it's a great movie.
That's what I'm saying. That I think the general consensus is that of the things that I've had,
Yeah.
it says that's because it's a win. That's a win. Therefore, it's a great movie, and therefore we can roll right into whatever's next.
I think it's a lot of...
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it may be a win in terms of making its money back, but I don't consider it a great movie because there aren't going to be those scenes where I'm going to just go like tonight home at midnight,
Now-
look up on YouTube.
Okay,
Wrap it up. Your favorite MCU so far?
I have to go with Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
That was just everything I want in a film. So
Which gives me hope for Civil War, and
Okay, Wave, your turn. What was your reaction to Ant-Man?
I mean, I've given most of it. Like I
Yeah.
said, my main issue boiled down to the disrespect of Janet and Hank Pym getting kind of shoved off to the side. But, I forgot. Are we doing a spoiler-ridden one?
Yeah, just do it.
yeah, it's
Okay.
It's
They
late
had
off.
some really
Yeah.
nice damn it Hank moments that felt like Hank Pym, with him just being a snarky asshole and then him doing shit like with the tank,
Yeah.
because that is Hank Pym. Hank Pym will do some retarded stupid shit where it's like, yeah, by the way, this keychain is actually a tank, and when I make it bigger, the keychain part's coming with it because
Yeah.
fuck you, I'm Hank Pym. Which
I
that was
gonna-
very
I
nice.
was going to say the de-aging they did on.
Oh, that was
You
amazing.
didn't see it, did you?
No, I've seen
you did see it.
Yeah.
The de-aging of Hank Pym in the beginning.
Yeah.
Wow, that was
really good.
that
Which-
was great.
That also had one of my favorite moments with, you know, maybe you should have protected your wife as much as you
Yeah.
protect it as you
Yeah.
protect your research, and he bashes the guy,
yeah.
and when the guy and yells at him about don't you talk about Dad that way. When the guy turns to Howard
Yeah.
and Stark just goes, "Don't look at me, you said it,"
You said it. Yeah. Right.
because that's also how Hank Pym would react to that.
great character beats.
Yeah. But other than my Hank and Janet issues,
Yeah.
which there are many. Yeah, I'm rapping.
Uh-huh.
That's keep going. we work at a TV station and none of us know the fucking hand signals. Anyways, but no, that's the thing. It's like that aside, I honestly loved it. I loved the fact that there were the worldwide consequences of, oh my god, we have to keep this weapon, the Yellow Jacket suit, the Yellow Jacket weapon, out of the hands of Hydra, which had that grand scale threat that pretty much every single Marvel movie has had, and had some really cool shit to do with that. But the fact that the B story was literally just about the happiness of a little girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean...
It was one of the same reasons why I loved Inside Out this summer. Was that it wasn't this giant global saving the world type of scenario. It was all just about the happiness of a little girl. But to me, that's just as compelling and just as important as saving the world. And when handled well, extremely well in Inside Out's case, and delicate enough in Ant-Man's case, I think that type of stuff scores. And we don't see that enough.
And one thing I was really happy about with the way they handled that was, yes, Scott's ex-wife and her new boyfriend, husband, I can't remember if they were actually married. Anyways, yes, she's not really a fan of Scott anymore. Obviously, they got divorced and all that, and they didn't really stay friends. And yeah, her boyfriend, husband, whatever, at the beginning of the movie, he hates Scott.
Right.
But neither one of them is willing to bring him down in front of Cassie.
No. Yeah.
Neither one is going to sit there and go, your father's a deadbeat, your father's a criminal.
I love the family dynamic.
Yeah.
Even to the point where at the end,
they're all of them.
There's this weird family dynamic, complete with their weird mutant dog.
Yeah.
The giant ant.
And, like, throughout the whole thing, Cassie loves her dad. It's none of this, oh, yeah, Dad, it's okay, you can disappoint me again. It's, Dad, you try. Oh my God, you got me this really ugly buddy. Yeah. It's so ugly, I love it. And like she's
brings up one of my this is nitpicky for me, but one of my issues with Ant-Man and Scott Lang, like the whole point of him doing this is because he's supposed to become the man that his daughter thinks he is. You know what I mean? But the whole time, he's already that man.
Mm-hmm.
He's already that man, and his daughter already thinks that he's that man. Yeah. So what's his motivation for this, other than selfish gains?
Right.
I just think that theme could have been handled better. They didn't really pick it up and run with it, and they didn't just drop it.
Well, here's the thing.
It was like it was presented, and then they were just like, we need him in the suit.
I'll also give it the way I read it isn't just that he was already that man that she believed he was. Is that he didn't believe he was that man.
That's true.
That's the thing.
He didn't believe it himself.
And you know what? Here's the thing. You can be you can be Superman.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't believe that you are as good as Superman, if you don't believe you are Superman...
You'll snap necks.
Yeah, basically.
Don't cover the eyes, don't move the head.
I think they subtly played on that a little bit.
What, snapping necks?
No, when he shows up to Cassie's birthday party, I mean, it's like the atypical suburbia house.
Yeah.
There's like friends, and it's like, they have like the couple friends that are friends with the mom and the boyfriend or whatever it happens to be, and they have like a nice home. Mm-hmm. And then, you cut back to his place, and it's like a dive where there's like criminals hanging out there who are okay with being criminals.
Ex-criminals.
All that kind of stuff.
No, there were actual. Yeah.
I think they play on that a little bit.
And there were actual criminals there. Michael Pena and his crew. Which, by the way, that crew, my God. Can we give it up for those guys?
No, I can't.
You don't
really?
like him?
No.
Knock, what do you think of that man? I don't know.
Yeah, wait, your turn.
I thought it was a great double feature.
Okay.
It was a great Ant-Man movie, and it was a great Paul Rudd movie. I like Paul Rudd movies, and I liked the Ant-Man movie. It was just, it seemed like two movies in one. They didn't know which direction to go
It did feel like
to.
two movies in one, and I think part of that is because of we have Edgar Wright's movie, and then we have Peyton Reed's movie, and
then
they
we
tried to
had-
make the best of both worlds.
Paul Rudd had a hand in writing it.
Yeah, well, after Edgar Wright left, Paul Rudd and Adam McKay from Anchorman fame
So,
came
yeah,
on
I
and
mean,
rewrote it.
having that, his sidekicks, his little criminal crew there.
Yeah.
I thought they were just there for comic relief, and they didn't add anything to the movie, but they didn't really take anything away.
They were
So I was
just there.
kind of in the middle with them, but when it came to the Ant-Man scenes and the fight scenes and
Yeah.
the Ant-Man scenes were great, and him progressing and learning how to control the suit and
It was
how to
fun.
control the ants were pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
It looked a lot bigger when I was down there.
Yeah, right.
I really have to agree with Ra on this. It's not something I'll buy the movie and I'll go back and watch it again, but it's not
It's not something
something
that sticks out in your mind.
it's not something that I'm gonna go out of my way for.
What it reminds me of a little bit too is of like back in I don't know 92 or 91 or something like that, the Generations movie that came out for Star Trek.
Yeah.
It seemed like a bridging movie to me.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the first
for
half
Ant-Man
was
people
old
associated
Star
with it.
Trek, and the last half was new
That's
Generation.
what
Well, I mean,
A bridging movie to me is Age of Ultron. That's
Yeah.
a bridging movie.
Yeah.
I'll definitely give it. There's
Did-
also a lot of.
Did we cover your favorite MCU movie?
No, but honestly, I think mine is a three-way split.
Yeah, I mean, Guardians is so close to the top.
That's the thing. Mine's
Winter Soldier just
mine's
keeps it by
an
the
even three-way split between Guardians, Winter Soldier, and First Avenger.
Yeah.
And like, I still love First Avenger because A, it was a great Captain America movie. B, it was a great World War II movie.
Yeah.
And I think it gets overlooked a lot by people because Winter Soldier was so good
Yeah.
that people sit there and go, yeah, whatever. First Avenger was okay, but look at Winter Soldier. It's like, First Avenger was great.
Yeah.
I mean, they did so, and the fact that yes, I have my issues as a classic Nick Fury fan. I'm seeing a trend here of my favorite characters getting screwed over in the MCU. Anyways,
Yeah, how does that work out for
I'm a
you?
classic Nick Fury fan, and at the very least, I got to see the Howlers in action.
Yeah.
They became Steve Rogers or Captain America's Howling Commandos, and Bucky became their sergeant, I guess.
Yeah, that was weird.
But
It worked. It worked for the movie.
you know what? We saw Morita. We saw Gabe. Let's see here. Actually, Happy Sam Sawyer was part of the team. We saw Percy. Percy Pinkerton did not have his umbrella, but at the same time, he had his beret. It was awesome.
Okay.
He was the British one. We saw
it was
Dum Dum.
French like it was supposed to be, but yeah.
Percy's British.
yeah.
Percival
okay.
Pinkerton is British.
It's been a while since
I don't know. That
read
kind of sounds like a
right?
Mexican name to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does
kinda look
slightly,
like Mexican.
slightly.
I think he's
still a mustache.
I think he's Filipino. He's Filipino, right?
Yucatan Peninsula.
The
Yeah.
handlebar mustache curled up and the red beret that really threw me. That's why I thought it was French.
Now here's the thing. Two-parter. Do you think Ant-Man deserves a sequel? And second part, do you want a sequel? Would you like to see more of these? And I don't mean more of the characters because we are getting more Wasp and more Ant-Man and Civil War and Infinity
Yeah.
War.
But
Do you want them
specifically
to see
them.
that?
I want Ant-Man to have the same trilogy as the rest of them. is what
Yeah, well,
you're asking.
they don't even. It doesn't even
Or
have a
even-
caper
Alright,
of
yeah.
a third.
I would
movie,
have
but at least
ver-
another adventure
I would have
of
ver-
strictly Ant.
I would like, at the very least, a second movie, but my condition on it is I wouldn't want it to be an Ant-Man movie. I would want it to be Ant-Man and Wasp
Yeah.
with Hope joining him.
This is what I want from a sequel. I want them to go on a search for Janet. I think they could work that into a sequel.
I believe they're going to put that into Doctor Strange. They're going to put part of that.
Well, yeah, and
into
then the
Doctor
whole
Strange.
end of Ant-Man is clearly a lead up to Strange, and they actually showed Doctor Strange footage this past weekend. It was compared to Inception meets the end of Ant-Man.
Where did
Yeah.
they show that it was strange?
They didn't really.
What part of it did they show?
It was
Well, not-
it was
they had-
Wasp getting her new costume and
Well,
Where did they reference strange?
the quantum realm
Yeah.
being a a dimensional realm within this world.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the color, the geometric shapes, the color bending, the micro levels type of stuff. That stuff is what Doctor Strange is going to be about. And is going into these outside of our grounded world.
They're going to keep Doctor Strange as close to the comics as possible.
And I didn't see this, but apparently there's a shadow of Janet standing there in the quantum realm, very quick. So it says Peyton Reed. So I didn't see it though. I've only seen the movie once. Pause. Production.
Yeah. So here's the thing. All right. So Janet, that actually kind of annoys me. Because are you saying that we see the shadow of her when he's becoming tiny?
Yeah, when he enters the quantum realm, there's supposedly a silhouette of her for a one frame.
Yeah, but here's my issue with that. Unless we're saying that the quantum realm has some really fucked up physics laws, which it does, to a certain extent, but when Janet disappeared because she kept shrinking, she was out over the fucking Atlantic Ocean, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So here's the thing: if I turn tiny, like tiny enough, it's going to take me an hour to walk from one end of this room to the other,
right?
Instead of 3 seconds, whatever it takes me. So how the fuck did she get all the way to wherever the hell? Where was it? It was like San Francisco, right?
She's had 20 years to walk.
Okay, she might be almost to the Caribbean.
But here's the thing: it's like in the quantum realm, the laws of space and time have no basis.
Okay, I'll accept that.
So you don't need to. Have you guys seen Interstellar?
No.
Well, I know you did. Well, it's similar to that. Whereas
we don't want to get into quantum mechanics right now.
Okay,
I will say.
Well, then I'll just say that in that type of realm, you can move freely between time and space. So you wouldn't necessarily need to walk somewhere if you figured out, and if you had time to figure out how to move. In Interstellar, they use love, but if you figure out how to move within the quantum realm,
since Janet's a scientist in this one instead of a fashionista,
right, she can figure out how to move through time and space entirely. Thus, why she might not even have aged at all. And they can explain this all in a sequel. It would have to be, somewhat heavy-handed.
And in our discussion wave about physics in this movie, I mean, he's carrying around a miniaturized tank. That thing should still weigh as much as it weighs because when Lang falls from the building and lands on top of the car, he puts a dent in it. So, I mean, even though he's the size of an ant. So, like you were saying, physics
kind of break down, even in real world.
Oh yeah.
So, I think that's the only direction they could go if they made a sequel.
The search for Janet.
I don't think anything else would make sense.
Well, because anything else you can just throw them into an Avengers setting.
Right.